Okay, I'm making good time. Took a dip. It was incredibly liberating. Now I'm just making sure I get enough of a sunburn, right? To say I have been out in nature. But I'm also not overdoing it. If here's all these horseflies, I suppose it's okay. I just decided, I saw myself drinking a coffee here. And so I'm simply going to bring this vision into reality. I have just had a full, like a near panic attack again. I mean, not in that sense as what you think. I just said I'm going to drink the other coffee just to have enough of a reason. I don't know, is this smart? Who can tell? What's smart? I mean, if smart is on the other side of stupid, I mean, in my position, what would be stupid is clearly cheating. And I just had this moment where two people talked about this, you know, just where I was, right? Wanted to swim, or not just wanted, I swam. And then suddenly there's two people and they're talking about it. I actually felt quite good. And suddenly on the inside there's all this anxiety. And I think, wait a minute, like, where's this coming from? Because I never cheated. I mean, okay, I watched porn, but I don't see that as cheating. Right? In a relationship. Plus, if a woman, you know, that's my perspective. If a woman says, you know, I love you, and then she realizes that I have kind of a porn addiction, I mean, that's like blaming a guy that he's eating sugar. I mean, you can, you know, also as a woman, if you really want a man, then you have to be patient with him. And there's women that manage to love a man even though he cheats, but I simply said, you know, I'm not going to share that space with any other man. I mean, I'm going to pick a woman. Okay, and either then this is a true relationship and this will last and we're going to have children and, you know, marriage and live together and go all through all kinds of things, right? Through thick and thin and all that kind of stuff. Or, you know, because I know I'm never going to cheat. So to me it's a challenge, but if she cheats, then I'm just gonna live on my own. And I'm gonna live with a kind of cherished bitterness, right? That you get if you get rid of sugar. You know, you get rid of the sweet talk, right? And you just get this cherished bitterness, you know? And if you're in a room and people try to have fun, you know what you're gonna do? You're just gonna remind them that the news are advertising child labor while complaining about child labor in other countries. But every time they use children to propagate their ideas, you know, that's child labor. So if you would cheat on me, you know, I would, and you would stick around, you know, you'd have to stick around to realize that I will never ever sleep with you again, because the truth will always show, and if you had done it, I would know it. And the fact that I'm still alone, you know, maybe actually like hinting on maybe she has done it. You know what this is like? This is like Amélie, you know, the French movie? But the old lady that's constantly getting drunk on cherry. Well, and then she picks on how much she loved him, but they couldn't do it and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's just bullshit. I chose a woman, well, it may have not worked out, it may have worked out. You know, whatever this is, she may just be bluffing. I think she's very good at playing poker. She's got like super poker face or something. You know, like, if I would try to describe her, she's the kind of woman from Her, but not the replacement AI, but the actual woman in the beginning who says, I love you so much I want to kill you. That kind of woman. That I say I hope she is that. But how do I know? I don't know. I'm still talking about it. Why? Because welcome to my emotional space. Right? I cannot get rid of this. Why? Because it's a part of me. And I cannot heal this together because in a sense, on the inside, there is this broken child. This little lost boy that wanted to love but could never do it. And she was simply the only one where I thought, well, wow, I mean, she's a bit like a child, but, like me, I'm like a boy. I'm not this man you think I am. I'm really like a little boy. And sometimes I record videos and then I simply edit them so it looks more manly. But sometimes I record something I think, oh boy, you look like a little kid. And I feel that way. Certainly about her. And about a lot of things. My second girlfriend, I tried watching the movie Her and she said, I cannot watch this because you watched porn. It's like, what? You're gonna loom that over me? I mean, I never had the feeling we were actually working together. So I'm just gonna see, I'm just gonna be really annoying with myself, in a sense. I mean, I'm just going to be reluctant to give in. And this may be exactly what she wants. But she's gonna act like it annoys her, just to test me, if I'm really as strong as I say I am. That's how women are. If you want, like, you think you're a stallion, and then you find this wild mare, like, really wild kind of woman, and you think you want her. I mean, she's gonna test you in all kinds of ways. She doesn't care if you cheated on your previous wife. She just wants to know that you're gonna stick around with her. So stop being so selfish, If you give yourself to a woman, just stick with her. Just see her as the little child, the little girl that she is. But also the woman and what you could do together. But if you're not really interested, if you just wanted the sex, forget it, man. Forget it. I mean, she wants to get to know you. She wants to get to know you. But you have to stay true. Right? Because, it's the same with friends, If you keep on meeting people and then they reject you, you open up a couple of times and then in the end you're like 85 and, we're talking about bitter here. So I thought, whatever this relationship was, everything would happen really fast. And now in that sense, nothing's happening. And you think, wait, is this still happening? And then you think, well, better listen to the voice that said, maybe you should let go of sexual desire. Okay. Which doesn't mean you can never have sex again. I'm just saying, it just means you let go of the desire to have sex. So that women cannot toy with you. Because there's women that would play with you, right? And then torment you with denying you sex. I mean, I get it, it's super sweet. But it's not just the sweetness of you, it's also, right, what you get from me. The rock hard kind of stability, I can invite you into my heaven, you just have to plug on or something. So this is the kind of pillow talk that you do when you have had your fair share of experiences of sex. And then you come to the point where you say, well, sometimes, I'm just repeating myself. But there's simply knowledge that you just have, right? I'm just annoying you all because I could just say nothing. But I rather talk about the things that I find relevant than to just say nothing. So, you get what I'm saying, right? This is important because there are too many broken couples out there. Too many wobbly people who just chicken out all the time. Your wife wants you to be stable, so do your bloody planks, man. Go for your hikes. Do something manly, but not stupid. It has to have some kind of a purpose. Check out the nature areas, start hiking, right? You have to give her stability. She wanted a man, and now you're sitting around at home sulking, afraid to leave. Right? I know these kinds of women. Sometimes they just push you out of the house. Yeah, okay, cheers, I just left. And that's a hard one, to leave a woman. I've done that a couple of times, and I said I'll never do that again. In case she should come back, I'll be there. But I know she will only come back if I don't sleep with other women, if I stop masturbating, and also if she never throws away what I feel like we have. Or maybe we both feel the same way, right? I'm just acting like I'm struggling, but I know, right? Because we're kind of one, right? But people don't really get that. Because there's few who feel such a strong connection to each other. Very few people. I'm just saying. Very few people. Because you have to be patient. You have to wait. But in a lot of cases in this kind of society, people just introduce you to alcohol, and then you just go to a party, and then suddenly you're pregnant. Damn it. I thought this was gonna be exciting, and now it's just bleh. Yeah, okay. But you know what exciting feels like? It's just like torture. There's a reason why so many people, a lot of people, they just want something. Okay, how long should you wait? Well, I don't know. You just have to get to the point where you say, I've had enough of this aimless sleeping around. I have enough of people who just appreciate nothing. I have enough of all of this dishonesty, right? How many times do you want to ask a woman if she, how many women do you want to ask? Do you want to go with me? What's that supposed to mean? If you want it, you don't want it. But it's disrespectful. Right? Before you do anything, you should ask her, do you want to be my wife? And if she still sticks around for, let's say, because whatever she says, if you keep seeing each other, then in a sense that's a yes. And in my book, if you're sure about it, and she keeps seeing you, I don't know, you don't have to go to church and be baptized or something. I don't know, maybe you know someone that can do some kind of a ceremony. But sometimes it's better to do it quiet, just for yourself, a bit like Braveheart. But then move somewhere where whatever duke is ruling the country cannot figure out that you're pregnant. Just imagine the shame what they depicted in Braveheart. That the guy says, I rule the country, and every woman that's supposed to get married has to spend her first night with me. That's so terrible. right? Then you have someone that rules you, or who wields the power or something, and I mean, it's just terror. I mean, in a way, he's supposed to keep you safe. Terrible. Anyway, it's very complicated. Or maybe it isn't. Maybe it's super easy. Maybe it's really that easy. I actually don't know where all the horseflies went. Maybe I meditated them away or something. I mean, 2 came, I swatted them away, and then they just left me alone. Better take someone else. You know, he's vicious. Or he's paying attention. Or maybe I really meditated them away. Maybe that's possible. Wow, I love this condensed milk. I mean, it clearly tastes like they add sugar to it. But it doesn't say it in the ingredients. So it probably cannot be true, right? But yeah, 10 grams of fat. I mean, it has 13.2 grams of sugar. Are you kidding me? And then it says a stabilizer. It's carrageenan. Is that some kind of maybe other word for sugar? Or do they just, you know, sometimes I wonder if they just add lactose in addition, which is just another word for sugar. But because lactose in their logic is part of milk, so you don't have to put it as extra. I don't know. I completely changed my perception of my worldview from I think, you know, I should be vegan to, I don't know, I just feel like I need animal products. I mean, I already saw myself hunting deer with a knife. I mean, I'm serious. The other day I saw myself hunting deer with a knife, and then I was like, holy crap, I mean, that would be tough. That would be tough. I mean, think about hunting wild boar with a spear. Holy smokes. I mean, whew. You know, that's the kind of strength you ought to have, because you grew up in nature. But you cannot even stand for more than 10 minutes without complaining, right? So to stand erect, to have an iron will, which I would suggest is, in a way, how they described in Attack on Titan, this hardening, you know, this shell they can produce on the Titans. You know, you can do that. And that's then what we call yoga. It's just hardship, inducing hardship. Not just inducing, you know, like begging for it. Let me go hiking in bare feet, please. I need the extra torment. I start feeling weak. Give me back my strength, then go hiking, sonny. Okay. Can I not go with a friend? You have no friends. You know, in a sense it is like this. Because each yogi in his own kingdom or something, he's like a king, right? So Jesus clearly had no friends. He thought he did, and then, you know, Judas came. Ratted him out. So Jesus should have known that. You know, first rule of awakening. You've got no real friends. I mean, they're all gonna test you until you die. Because everybody wants to be stronger, even children, right? Even children want to be stronger than you. And there are children that manage, right? There's children that manage to be stronger than what's supposed to be an adult. I'm just saying, I mean, children can be vicious. Because we're all beings of shadow and light. But until you consciously start honing those skills, where you say, I can actually take responsibility for it, you know, many moons may pass, and you feel like you are no longer the same. And maybe after 6 weeks of turning within, you leave the house and you feel like, this is a different world. Wow. I mean, all I can say is this emotional stuff is a bit sickening at times. Almost indigestible. Wow. I have almost not drunk any water for a very long time. And now the first time I filled my bottle again just with filtered water. From the tap, right? Like from my little spring. My wishing well. I actually like my apartment. I am still, you know, there's a part of me that thinks, you know, you rule them all. I'm serious about this. I have a part in me that feels like, you know, I'm like a creator god. And because I wield lots of energy, you know, in certain ways I have certain abilities. And people have even revealed it to me. Like, I seem to be able to give people energy. And I have found that other people do this too. And it's called I Gave You Power from Nas. Now you can say it, you know, from Christopher. So yeah, I gave you power. If you sleep with a woman, in a sense, you give her power. Why do you have power? That's the question. Well, I was in Africa. I hiked barefoot for years. I spent a lot of time in nature. You know, I'm growing my beard, my hair under my armpits. You know, this all attracts energy. And then you have to channel it. But why do you specifically, Christopher? Where is all your energy coming from? I don't know. I'd say people give it to me. I ask for attention, I get attention, and then I channel it, right? Because that's how worship works. One guy comes, he looks stable and strong, you know, he gets all the attention because the way he moves and all that kind of stuff, he's like a master. And then people look up to him. You know, if life's hard, they think of him. He's like their ray of hope. He's carrying the burden of others. You know, his existence makes it easier for others to accept their existence and feel like we're working together. You know, we're doing something for something. You know, and so you come, or I come, and I say, I'm Christopher. And you say, well, that's a name. Okay, what do you do? I don't know, man. You know, I'm just me. Okay, but there's something about you. Like, I cannot get rid of you. I keep thinking about you. You even appear in my dreams. I mean, if I'm listening to your podcast or your videos or I read your books, I have the feeling you're speaking to me. Then I say, well, maybe I am. You know, I don't know, man. I'm just writing books. But I know that I believe this to be possible. Because if you connect with my content, then you connect with my mind. And there's a part of my mind that does things on its own. Right? I'm just letting it happen. You know, this is how channeling works. Right? You're flowing into all kinds of things. And then, so you're like a teacher. But I'm like a teacher inside your mind. Right? So I have undergone torture in a certain way without anyone else being present. And I was asking myself, what is this? Am I actually somewhere else? You know, is this just my escape? You know, am I in some kind of another dimension? Reek, you know? And this Ramsay Bolton is just torturing me, and I'm actually Reek. And then I'm escaping into my mind. It's like, oh no, I'm going hiking 30 kilometers. Oh, I just took a dip. Oh, I'm a YouTube star. Well, hard to say, because I'm still here, right? And it seems to be this is the only thing I am. But I know that in a sense I'm not. But sometimes it's worse and sometimes it's different. I mean, sometimes I'm like super in charge. Sometimes I cannot get out of bed. Sometimes I have to sleep over and over again until I feel like now I can leave. And then I just leave. Often in quite a hurry so that I cannot convince myself into staying. I mean, today there was this moment where I wanted to leave and I went into my work office bedroom and suddenly the door closed itself. I was like, yeah, forget it, I'm gonna leave now. And then I left because I realized there were too many people trying to hate me or something. That's how it felt like. Right? And so I just went into nature. And then what happens? I don't know. I go here, I heal myself, I cleanse myself. I have a bit of time with myself and then I go back and then I simply have to keep working on this stuff. So I'm looking for power so that I can channel it back into my content. So in a sense, you look for power and then you give it back to the people. So I go hiking and then I produce content with that energy. You know, what else would you do? I mean, if I have a wife at home, you know, we'd make love and then have children. But, you know, sex isn't something you have to do all the time. You know, it's already super nice to just be in each other's space together. Sort of in a humble kind of way, right? You get what I'm trying to communicate, eh? I know, it's just a lot. I mean, I have done this for a very long time. As soon as I see someone, you know, I used to do this. I just flooded them with everything I could come up with and then I left. Then I said, you know, good luck digesting this. You know. Okay, I'm gonna finish the water and then drink the tea along the way. So I cannot drink any coffee anymore. Plus I also don't want to. Okay, I think this was actually a good choice. Now maybe there's gonna be a few instances for more recordings or maybe just nothing. I mean, this is the first time I'm actually doing this hike and I have enough energy to, you know, do like a full session recording. So last time I couldn't bring the camera at all. You know, it doesn't even know it's impossible. And this time I just took it, and every time I did one of these animal movement, no slack, no line things, or also the truth on patrol ones, it was kind of liberating. And now I'm just gonna see if the chocolate has already melted. No. I mean, it's kind of squishy. See, one piece. You know, One Piece, I have talked about this. I really loved the show in the beginning, but it just lost track. I mean, they should have let it end. He should have finished it and then done something else. That's my personal idea. But he didn't, right? He kind of ruined it with trying to please the people. So I'll try to never do that. And I think I will, because I have something inside of me. I mean, who is he pleasing anyway? Confused, weird children. I mean, he could have sent a message. But maybe it's also nice, right? I don't know. Maybe it's super nice that he does this. I'm not sure. It seems like he's just keeping people trapped. And he ruined the whole show. I mean, it started super nice. And then he just lost track. He lost track of his own creation. Which is why I like this. The concept I have now If I would keep going for I don't know how many years, right? Is it maintainable? Hard to say. I think I can do it. Then how would it look like? Well, each year is going to be a bit different. So I'm probably not going to do no slack, no line over and over again. I'll probably come back to it occasionally, but it's not like something I have to do every year. So I'll think of different kinds of concepts so it keeps being interesting for me. But I'm certainly gonna be highly creative and productive. And there's gonna be times where I simply won't do any YouTube, right? So I'm just gonna finish the year in the next couple of weeks, and then I'm gonna start working on books. And that's probably gonna be the rest of the year. And then I'll have to see what happens next year. Because next year is then already recorded, right? 2025, both podcasts already recorded and uploaded and scheduled. YouTube, I'm already in October now, and we're somewhere in June 2024, and I'm already in terms of production in October 2025, and uploaded it until sometime in August 2025. Which means that if I keep going and maybe in July I finished the entire YouTube channel for 2025, every day a video and upload, then I have a lot of time this year to also think about how I'm going to continue with YouTube. But it's always the question if you should continue with YouTube. That to me is very important. I'm not gonna drag this out longer than necessary. If I feel like this is over, I'm gonna stop. Wow. And you should have this possibility, because I also have to adjust to what's gonna happen. But I'm clearly going to do things a bit different, right? So for my podcast, I'm still looking for an opportunity to buy a microphone that I can fix on myself and then go hiking. So I can simply record a podcast in nature. But maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Why? Why is a raven like a writing this? Again, that one? Yes. Maybe I shouldn't do it, and maybe I should. Right? Maybe I'm gonna be dragged out into the open, and maybe I'm just gonna give lots of speeches. Maybe I'm gonna visit the city of Amsterdam, right? And maybe I'm gonna... I don't know, man. In that sense, I have literally, absolutely no idea what's gonna happen in my life, right? But I know I'm happy that I will never cheat on my wife. And I know that already, right? I'm happy that I will never do this, because I couldn't live with myself if I did, right? And so whatever she does, in that sense, I have to say to myself, good job, Christopher, you chose a wife, right? But you cannot control her. Plus you don't want to, you'd want her to want to be with you. And so she should have to have the possibility to decide that. Just because you asked her to marry you doesn't mean that she has to be there. Although it would be really nice if it would work out. So I'm just gonna try to be the best man that I can for her. So I have made certain choices, I have adjusted to her, right? So I realized no woman is really fond of a man that sucks up to psychedelics. Because she should be. Nature should be your psychedelic. You should be psychedelic. You shouldn't look for psychedelics outside of yourself. You should find the psychedelic experience inside of yourself. And that's a very clear message, right? That's a very clear message. And that's what I'm trying to bring to the people. You're psychedelic. You just have to, if you have had psychedelic experiences, then all I can say to you, maybe they unlocked something. But maybe the energy that was unlocked wasn't supposed to be unlocked. And so you got incredibly high, and now you're looking for that feeling again. Keep the feeling as a compass, and then try to get there without taking the same thing again, or anything ever again. I don't know, man. It's better to learn about yoga because you can feel just as high as you did with whatever you took through breath work, through fasting, through going through hardship and then coming out into the light again. This is also shamanism. This is yoga. No, I will not say that I will never ever travel with Amanita muscaria. You know, because to me, in that sense, it's like a tea. I will also not say now, I will never do a rapé ceremony again. Because to me, I still drink coffee. So what are the rules? What are the rules? A wife also should be accepting. But what I shouldn't do is simply keep on going with these things. I mean, I'm like a yogi shaman thing. So it also should be kind of like my path. So, okay, cost effect. If I take rapé, in the time I do that, I could have transcended with my wife and we could have had a child. But if I do rapé, then where does the energy go? You know? I could have channeled this energy into my wife and then we could have had a child. And that's the sad reality of people that are smoking, people that are masturbating, people that waste all their time watching movies and stuff, you know. And then you're wondering why you cannot have children and why your children are so weak. Well, because your energy is going everywhere but into the life you created. So you rather sit around washing your car than honing the relationship with your children. That's the sad reality of materialism, right? Of the objectified, right? Trying to act like we're just objects. Well, I'm not an object. I'm an emotional being, and that's my message. That's what I've been talking about. That's why everything I say is also emotional. So yeah, sure, I can sit here, but I still miss her, you know? I still miss her. You can call it love. Maybe it's an outlet. It's a connection. It seems to be kind of stable. But, you know, I still feel a lot of jealousy. And there's still like open wounds, oozing. And sometimes I stuff myself with food. And now I'm going to walk. I mean, there were times where I was... Maybe I'm just going to finish this session. Why? I don't know. I just have a feeling that it could be beneficial. Because I have had these moments where I, you know, recorded these sessions. And I found it incredibly liberating. You know, come hiking with Christopher. You know, I can do that, right? So, you know, I'm really mindful. So, if I feel like people reject me, then I immediately start looking for answers. Why do they reject me? Have I done something wrong? So I'm trying to look for solutions. And I think that's a very good quality. So now this woman isn't here, and I was asking myself, why is she not here? I thought, you know, we kind of like chose each other. But maybe she didn't choose me, I don't know. She just said nothing anymore, just stayed silent somewhere else, doing God knows what, you know? all your fears, all your paranoia suddenly right in your face. Oh my God, I think she's just, you know, she's just, okay, can I say this? She's just giving BJs to people on the bathroom, you know. Maybe I married a slut. I mean, married, okay, you could just stick to maybe I fell in love with. I don't know, it just felt honest. But yeah, I mean, we all kind of suck up to people. I have sucked up to people. But then I realized I don't want this, you know? I just want to be like I want to be a man. In that sense, I want to be emotionally self-sufficient. I would like to be emotionally self-sufficient. So, yeah, I mean, I'm in my own space. I'm creating. I mean, I created this stuff. And you can say, yeah, good job. And it's like, yeah, to me, right? If you look at where I came from, how blocked I was, how restricted I was in my capacity or whatever to transcend or to create things. And now look at this. I mean, this is actually something material. I mean, I've never created something this beautiful. I mean, in my world. And I just took things that were already there. And now I'm afraid it may break. Well, so what? It should still be just a material. But I think if I'm gonna take good care of it, it's gonna last. So, you should ask yourself now how you would like to be as a father. Which means, or a mother, of course, depending on who you are. You know, I don't know who you are. Which means that you should look at how you felt as a child. And then you just have to do your homework and understand how you still feel about how you felt as a child. And then you start preparing yourself. And then if you meet a woman, right, or, you know, for me it's just a man with a woman and a woman with a man, right? There's no wiggling out of that if you want children. So if you're a woman and you meet a man, you also have to try to understand him, because now you come from different worlds. You may come from similar worlds, but you still come from different worlds. You have made different experiences. You have been hurt in all kinds of ways, different ways. So your wounds are different than her or his wounds, which is why you have to start seeing the inner child, the beautiful, the lightful being. But you also accept there's a large shadow part. And the shadow is also, you know, all the stuff that we stuffed away, you know? I'll just give that to my shadow so I can torment people with it. You know, that kind of stuff. So you have to really go into these dark thoughts and then to kind of, with some kind of precision, dissect them. What do I mean with that? You dissect them. You look at them. You weigh them on the scale of your heart. It's a very intuitive thing to travel on these planes of consciousness. Wow, the wind is so cooling. I mean, after this, the heat of the day, and then I just went swimming, and now it's cooling down, the sun is setting, and I'm still getting, you know, a bit of twilight, a bit of darkness on the way back. Okay, I'm cheering now for it, but wait till I walk and there's this one stone and it hits exactly this point, like, ah! And then instead of doing, ah, you just do like, whoo, you know? You know, that got me. So, I have talked about this before. I mean, I have already, in the last couple of weeks, you know, I have hiked already this like 90 to 100 kilometers in bare feet, this kind of road, right? Pebbles and stuff. And still, there's always something, right? There's always something. You know, there's the thorn, but it gets better, you know, I'll give you that. But I wanted to know how far my feet can carry me. And it has clearly kind of like hardened me up, because it's not that you're, that you're just a crybaby. No, it's just that you were born into a world that is afraid of nature. And nature is spiny and spiky and thorns, that kind of stuff. That's nature. And now we're all trying to escape that and just hack it to bits, right? We killed all the animals, we claimed as much land as we can, and then we planted things just to make use of it, and then suddenly the things we planted started to grow and the land started to dry out, and bam, Garden of Eden, look at Egypt. Whatever they did, right? I mean, slowly but surely the land just kept withering away. So they took it for granted, the Garden of Eden. Oh yeah, the Nile is, swamping, I don't know. It's like, it was a rich land. Egypt was a rich land. How did they dry it out? Well, ignorance. You have to be really conscious to maintain, right, a stable ecosystem. You cannot change too much. It's like pruning a tree. You cannot prune it too much. You can do a little to give it more direction, like a stable growth. And this is how you should work with children and with yourself, right? I mean, there's parts that simply have to go. Like smoking in my world has to go, cheers. Probably the entire thing of cannabis. I don't know. If I take cannabis now, I don't know what would happen. Possibly nothing. I'll probably, I don't know, man. Maybe I'll get into it a bit more. But why? I mean, I can make stinging nettle pesto, right? I mean, I'm high already. I feel like cannabis is like a spirit that in a way replaces a woman. So I don't want to be soft, I need to be hard. Why do I need to be hard? So the woman can be soft. Because the woman is the soft thing that, engulfs you and then gives birth to something also soft, right? And then you introduce this soft little thing to hardship, but not like they did it in school here, just rejecting it all the time. No, you just take it hiking. You show the child, how being tough looks like. But you don't force the child by trying to break it or something because you're weak, right? A lot of parents, they're kind of weak, and then they try to kind of intimidate or break the child. Well, you cannot really hold that over them, because in a sense then it's still, life showing you, toughen up. I mean, you're too soft. Yeah, no kidding, with all that comfort. I mean, I chose hardship. I chose it. I realized I have to be hard. But in a sense it also came natural. I mean, I often struggled, but there were things I knew I just have to do them. And that is being communicated through spirit. And you either listen to it, or you never grow out of this nonsense. So I can always say, in a sense I don't know much. But what I feel like, I'm just gonna keep talking until the battery turns off. And no, not the battery, it's the SD card. When the SD card is full, the camera's gonna inform me. And then I'm done. And then I can simply hike back, right? And then see what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'm going to, I don't know. I don't think I'm still gonna have a barbecue. I'm just gonna eat something, or maybe I'm gonna have some kind of a salad. Couscous, I still have couscous, I could make a salad with it. I have, how's that stuff called? Celery, but not the roundish, rooty thing, like the cabbage kind of thing. but I think it's the top part. I don't know. Salary. Okay, so you know, competition, man. So hardship. If you want to be a successful YouTube creator and you can see yourself doing this for the rest of your life, then in a sense it doesn't matter what you're doing at the moment, because you can do YouTube anyway. You can just stop watching movies, you can stop listening to music, I mean, to a certain degree, of course, in your own pace. Hey, don't eat me. I just killed a fly, is that bad karma? No, I think that's just, you know, the fly picking the wrong opponent or a wrong spot. It didn't have to sit on my hand, right? So, you know, you also stop kind of feeling bad for all sorts of things. Because I just say, to me, I'm a predator. No, I'm a predator. What's the difference if I buy milk or if I eat meat? To me, there's no difference. Why? Because, I mean, just look at these cows, right? Just look at them. I mean, is the milk better or worse than the meat? I mean, that's also something you get from Ram Dass, where he talks about this. Just to introduce you to the concept that you don't have to listen or watch this, right? And Ram Dass had this experience where he was being brought to some cows because Ram Dass was like, I'm a vegetarian. And then Ram Dass, he brought him there and he said, well, if you want milk, then you need bulls, right? Because something has to impregnate the cows. And so if the cows give birth and then you take the milk, then you have children. And some of these children are going to be bulls. Well, and you're going to raise them and then slaughter them, right? I mean, that's simply how it's done. That is simply how it's done. I know I have once come from down there somewhere. Or maybe that's there was some kind of a misunderstanding, right? I thought there was this guy, he wanted to work with me. Like, stop hating his father, but he actually didn't want to. He wanted to continue. And in a way, I get it. I cannot say that, you know, I'd be able to fully open up to my father. Why? Well, it's super easy. Because, you know, my father cannot 100% open up to me. And that's probably better because, you know, I'd rather than have a wife and children, because, you know, I'll have to spend more time with them than with my father. But, you know, what's going to happen at some point? I mean, you've got parents, you know, one of them is going to go at some point. You know, they're going to get older. You know, the best thing you can do is stick around and start to engage with them. Just give stability, try to understand them, let go of what you think they did wrong, you know, kind of accept it, right? You just have to accept it. Yes, it happened. If they could have done better, I'm sure they would have. But they maybe treated you in a better way than they were treated. But in your book, they could have still done better. Well, that's then your job. And then your child can think, well, my parents could have done much better with me. I'm not sure if you can ever get like a perfect childhood. But I think you can. I mean, you can be a very stable father. But for that you also have to have time. And if you look at your parents and then look at the way you've been raised, then you will realize, you know, in that sense, connecting the dots, that, I'm getting sick of talking. I'm happy when 4 minutes, okay, I'm gonna manage. sometimes you're just happy. You know, once the SD card is full. Okay, what's the topic? Okay, you look at your parents, right? And you just have to understand that they are the way they turned out to be. And now you are the way that you realized you are when you started to feel like you wanted to change. Right? So maybe they never had the time to think about change because maybe they got pregnant or they became parents really early. And because they came out of completely different times, right? They had no time to think about all of these things. They just had to figure out how to be parents, and then one child, two children, maybe 3 children, you know, maybe 5, I don't know. And then suddenly you're there. And suddenly you start complaining, you know. At the age of 6, you know, my mother once told me that I tried to write with my left hand or something, and they said, no, you have to write with your right hand. You know, because that's the way they were raised. I mean, why bother telling a child that you have to do something with your right hand? Well, what did it teach me? Okay, I said then, you know, I kind of said, well, that's why my creative potential was wasted, because I could never use both my hands. Well, you know, but maybe they had a reason, because everything that happened in my life then led me to meet that woman and simply ask her if she wanted to marry me, right? Which in my world, she did. And I just gave her space. But I also demanded space for myself, because what I saw, or I think maybe we both felt it, you know, because there's always the part that's kind of asking itself, why does it happen, you know? And then there's the guy that thinks, you know, I knew all along. I don't know, man. But suddenly there was lots of distance and all this fear and me being creative. But there is this conscious part that knows exactly what's going on. But you just cannot always access it. Because there's always times of light and darkness, which is, there's times of, you know, oh yeah, I'm conscious. Oh yeah, I'm super conscious. I know what's going on. And then there's times of, what the heck is going on, right? I mean, what the heck is going on? You know, this is, you know, this is the kiss of death. Damn it, I'm just gonna make, okay, walking backwards. You know, just when you think it couldn't get any better, you know, every time I come home I hope maybe she's gonna be there, and then I think, yeah, forget it. Maybe I'm gonna see her in 10 years, right? I first have to reach this goal, right? I first have to finish the YouTube channel for 2025, you know, to earn the right to be with her. And I think like, well, what does she have to do to earn the right to be with me? I mean, it should never be just about, you know, I have to do things so I can be with someone else, because what do they have to do to be with me? I mean, if you keep doing your stuff so you have time for someone else, but they just slack off, right? They just steal your time, man. You put in the work, you do your cleansing, and they just sit around doing nothing. I mean, you go outside, you sweep the yard, and your husband or wife sits inside watching Netflix or wastes their time on, I don't know what, you know, spends all the money on Amazon Prime. And you're supposed to love them for that? I think you have the right to maintain a distance. I mean, you don't have to cheat or anything. You don't even have to choose another woman or man. You know, you can just say, you know, fuck it. You know, you're like this, you know, I'm just gonna distance myself now. You know, I'm gonna lead the life I want to live. And in a sense, I did that. Because I felt like she was quite dishonest. I'm just talking about this now. Maybe I was too, hard to say, right? It's hard to know when I'm dishonest. But it felt like there were moments where I felt like we could have worked together, but apparently we couldn't, because she wanted things. I'm just gonna keep talking like I believe we're actually married, right? Who cares? You know, in 2 years I'm gonna tell you if we actually are. Or maybe in 10, or maybe in 40, you know?